Singing commercials heard on the air. Many of them sound familiar.
Well, that's a rather big question. I can't go into it fully this morning, but I might pick out a couple. Yes, the commercials do have very interesting musical backgrounds, some of them. I'm thinking especially of the Pepsi-Cola jingle and the Chiquita Banana. Those are two that are very popular today. Of course, the little Pepsi-Cola always reminds me of the old English song John Peel. John Peel went, so you might actually sing it in some way, something like this. Do you ken John Peel, that English song? Listen to the jingle, it's going strong. The drink is good, the tune is free. Pepsi-Cola is John Peel to me. That's not too good. Well, the other one, the Banana Song, I find very interesting because it really sums up all the qualities of Latin American music and the calypso style and so on. It's very characteristic. Actually, the only tune it really reminds me of is the old Casey Jones, the old American railroad song. That's rather strange, too, because you wouldn't connect a railroad song so much with bananas, which are generally carried on steamships. However, let's remind you of Casey Jones. It starts, come all you rounders if you want to hear the story about the brave engineer. Casey Jones was the rounder's name. On a 6-8 wheeler, boys, he won his fame. Something like that. So, again, we might adapt the Casey Jones idea to Chiquita Banana and start it by saying, oh, come all you rounders if you want to hear the story of a lady who's a perfect dear. Chiquita Banana is the lady's name. On United Fruit Steamer she has sailed to fame. How do you like that, Mrs. Partridge?
Well, Mr. S., I wonder if Casey Jones kept bananas in the boiler of his locomotive.
That would have been perhaps the very best place to keep it good and warm.
That wasn't very good either. Now let's get to our studio questioners. We have a very nice studio audience today, and we'd like to hear from as many as possible. First, we have a very lovely young lady all dressed in a beautiful red suit. Is that a brand new spring suit? Will you come in very close to the microphone, dear? Is that a very new spring suit?
No, it isn't.
It isn't. That shows you what I know about women's clothes.
Just looks new.
I see. Well, it looks very lovely anyway, and she has a very nice little blue flower in her hair, which complements the red very nicely. Now, do you have a question for Mr. S.?
I would like to know...
Come closer, dear. That's it.
I would like to know what is the longest piano composition ever composed?
And I'm sorry, Mr. Spate, before you answer, I didn't ask your name.
I'm Sally Ingram.
Sally Ingram. Well, Sally, we're very happy to have you here, and we think your question is very nice. I'll repeat it for Mr. Spate. What is the longest piano composition ever composed?
Oh, that is really a tough question, Sally, because, of course, any of the concertos might be said to run pretty long, but you know what I'm going to decide? I will say that almost any finger exercise could be considered the longest piano composition because you play it over and over again, and you can go on for hours. So that is my answer.
All right. Now we have another questioner, this time a young lady. And what is your name, please?
Mrs. C. N. Moore.
Mrs. C. N. Moore. And what is your question?
I would like to know how long would it take a seriously interested person to learn to play a piano?
Well, that's a question I think I can answer. It depends entirely on how well you want to play. I sometimes argue that anyone can play piano in a fashion almost immediately. And the thing to do is start right in and play. Pick up little chords at the piano like that, and you'll find you can accompany yourself in little songs, and then you go as far as you like. Of course, sooner or later you have to have a good teacher, and if you really want to play the piano well, that is, as well as it can be played, you're going to devote your entire life to it. There's no limit to the time.
I think your book, Fun with Music, has something to say on that score, too, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Fun with Music tells you how anyone at all can start and actually play a few chords right away.
Never hurts to get in a little plug for the book.
Thank you, Keys. Thank you.
You're very welcome, sir. Mutual admiration. All right, son, what is your name?
Stuart Kramer.
Stuart Kramer, and where are you from, Stuart?
Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn? And your question?
Why did Joseph Haydn write the Surprise Symphony?
Why did Joseph Haydn write the Surprise Symphony? Well, that's a good question. Of course, Haydn was writing symphonies right along. He wrote them steadily. He wrote about 125 of them altogether. And with the Surprise Symphony, you know, he has that little... chord was supposed to be the surprise. That, he said, it would wake up the audience. He also said it would make the women scream. And probably it did both in its day. But today it's quite mild. Anyway, he liked his little joke, and I think that's why he wrote the surprise. It turned out to be a really beautiful symphony after all.
That sounds like the Pepsi-Cola jingle to me, too.
It is a little like it. You're right, Keith.
Stuart, don't go away. Come back, please, son. We've come to the portion of our program this afternoon which deals with musical telephone numbers. And I think, Stuart Kramer, we will ask for your phone number first and see if Mr. Spade can make a melody from it.
It's Dickens 2, 9454.
Dickens 2, 9454.
9454. Well, now, just to remind the audience, the scale is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That gives us all 10 digits. So 1, 2. There would be the first number, 2, 9, 4, 5, 4. Well, I think I could get a little waltz out of that. Because our time is running short.
Yes, and Sally is back again, and she would like to tell you her phone number, too, Mr. Spade.
All right.
Will you tell it to us, dear, please?
My phone number is Bridgewood 63990.
63990. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3. All right. I think we'll try that in March time. 63990.
Very good, Mr. Spade.
Very short, but to the point.
I knew that was a tough number, but...
yes, it was not so easy.
I wanted to put you on the spot a bit this afternoon. And now I think before we say goodbye, you have something to say to the members of our studio audience and our listening audience.
Well, thanks for that opportunity, Keys. I do want to say it's been a pleasure to do this program. I hope it's only starting, even though it actually ends today, for a time at least. I've appreciated the questions that have come in, the very nice letters some of you have written to me, and I hope, even though this is the last broadcast, if you did enjoy the program, you will write in and say so, and even send some more questions, because we can save them up for the future, and someday you may get your copy of Fun with Music in that way. So this is, we'll say, not entirely goodbye, say au revoir, but not goodbye, as the old song put it. I hope I'll meet you all again in future, both on the air and in the studio. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's Sigmund Spade playing his own theme, which you won't be hearing for a while here on WOR. The busy Mr. Spade is embarking on an extensive tour, which will take him clear across the country and back. And when he comes back, he hopes to be greeting his old friends here on the music quiz, answering questions, and playing the piano. We hope you'll be on the lookout for his return with the music quiz. Keys Perrin speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
You're listening to the OTRNOW Radio Program.
This is Bertie, Miss Gilfrey's cook. Thanks for listening.
All right, we're just about done. I hope you could keep your attention throughout the program. We have 2 more shows left. And now the Philco Mysteries from September 14th, 1937, Missing Masterpiece.
Read all about it. Philco Mysteries on the air. Your chance to play detective. Win huge cash prizes in this newest, most exciting, most fascinating mystery contest. Every week at this same time, over this station, your Philco radio tube dealer brings you transcribed the great Philco Radio Mystery Contest. $50,000 in cash for the winners. $50,000 in cash for solving simple mysteries. Weekly prizes. Big grand prizes. Nothing to buy, anybody can enter. You may win this contest of skill. The big free Philco mystery book tells you all about it. If you haven't already got yours from your Philco radio tube dealer, get your copy as soon as possible. Lists all the prizes, shows you how easily you can win. Contains official entry blanks. You cannot enter this contest without this free book. So get your copy now. Here's Philco Radio Mystery number 2. If you already have your Philco mystery book, be sure it's open to pages 6 and 7 while you listen to the program. Listen carefully. Take notes. Follow the action on the diagram you'll find on page 6. Philco, the beautiful girl detective, is going to solve a mystery, and maybe you will win a big cash prize for showing how she solves it. You're a detective. You're on a case. It's the missing masterpiece. It is 9 o'clock in the morning, and the National Museum of Art has just opened its doors for the day. Old Dennis Maloney, one of the trusted guards, is coming on duty at his regular station, the Gallery of Valuable Dutch Paintings. Just as he is entering the Dutch room, Dennis is greeted by the director of the museum, Dr. Benson, who has been making his early round.
Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning to you, Dr. Benson.
You're looking healthy and happy as usual.
Oh, as for me health, fellas, only me 2 feet that bother me at all. 25 years of walking around guarding oil paintings have flattened them out like 2 sheets of tin roofing.
Oh, that's too bad. I'll see to it that you get more rest periods during the day.
Thank you, Dr. Benson.
You know, I always enjoy coming into this room. Those old Dutchmen certainly knew how to paint.
Oh, indeed. And hello. What's this?
Well, what do you mean?
Why, look here, sir. This little table in front of the benches. Why, there's a crack in the glass top.
Oh, somebody must have dropped something on it.
Maybe so, but that glass wasn't cracked when I went off duty last night at 5. Say, I'll bet it was that goofy artist, Mr. Young, that done it.
Young? Was he here when you left last night?
Yes, sir. He had a permit to paint in here until 6 o'clock. And when I left, he was sitting on this bench making another copy of this little Vermeer. He, heaven help us.
Well, what is it, Dennis?
Well, look, this Vermeer, there's something different about it.
Well, you're right. This is only a copy.
Oh, the real one was here last night when I left.
That Vermeer cost the museum $200,000.
Oh, it was that artist, Fellow Young. Remember? I said he was here last night?
Yes. And you say he was copying the Vermeer?
Yes, sir. He always does. He's made more than one copy, too, during the past year. Maybe this is one of them.
Has any other artist made a copy lately?
No, sir. Not in the last 5 years. Shall I go into the hall and phone the police?
No, wait, Dennis. I'll do the phoning myself. We can't accuse Mr. Young hastily. We won't call the police, though, just yet. I'll get a friend who'll work quietly.
Yes, sir. Oh, here's the phone, sir.
Oh, thanks. Dennis, have you ever heard of Phil Cole?
Cole? Oh, wasn't there a Detective Cole some years ago?
That's the one. He was famous the world over for his work in crime detection. Phyllis is his daughter. Since his death, Phil has been carrying on her father's work. Hello? Is this Phyllis Cole? Hello, Phil. This is Dr. Benson at the museum. Someone has stolen our Vermeer. Yes, the woman baking bread. Can you come now? Splendid. Goodbye.
Dr. Benson, I've taken the liberty of bringing my friend Tom Taylor with me. You see, Tom writes mystery novels. The boy's pretty good, too. I'm afraid he uses me as a bloodhound to sniff out plot.
Why, Phil, darling, I pursue you because you're a charming woman, as well as an efficient plothound.
Oh, that's enough, Tom. I'm here on business. Now, Dr. Benson, please tell me everything.
Well, I entered this room an hour ago with Dennis Maloney here. He's been guarding our Dutch masterpieces for years.
Indeed, and I have, Miss Cole.
The first thing we noticed was a crack in the glass top of this small table.
I see. Go on, please.
What are you going to do with that magnifying glass, Phil?
Well, I'm going to examine the crack in the glass top. Go right on, Dr. Benson. I'm listening.
Well, then we discovered that our Vermeer was gone. And in its place, only a poor copy.
Dr. Benson, I found something interesting in this cracked tabletop.
Yes, Phil?
Now, Dr. Benson, the Vermeer was a small canvas, and that's why you hung it fairly low, about 7 feet, I'd say.
That's right.
The person who took it from the wall pulled this little table over and stood on it. That's what cracked the glass. I found some grains of sand wedged into the crack in the glass. Whoever stood on this table had been walking through sand not long before.
That sounds like an excellent clue.
Tell me this. Was anyone in this room after Dennis went off duty last evening?
Yes. There was a rather shabby artist who frequently comes in to copy our Vermeer. His name is Nelson Young. The museum closes to the public at 5, but Young had one of our special permits to stay till 6.
Do you suppose this copy is the one that he made?
Well, I can't say.
Dennis, are you certain this artist, Mr. Young, was here after 5 last evening?
Yes, ma'am, he was. I examined his late permit, and when I went out, I left him sitting there on the stationary bench, painting away with his long, gangly legs doubled up under himself like a pretzel.
Who checks up on the late permits when people leave the museum after the regular closing hour, Dr. Benson?
Well, the night watchman at the side door.
Well, could an artist with a large portfolio easily walk right out with the picture?
Yes.
Well, who in addition to this chap Young had late permits yesterday?
Well, there were 2 others. I picked their permits up at the office while I was waiting for you to arrive. Here, their names are on them.
Oh, thank you. Marcia Bedell. Who's she, Dr. Benson?
She's the daughter of old Amos Bedell, the retired banker. She's about 19, only child, and as in most cases of that kind,